You have probably heard about children who say the strangest things out of the blue. Something along the lines of, "You're my favourite mum." Or perhaps, "I used to be an old man before I came into your tummy." A great many people put this kind of comment down to the children having a vivid imagination, hoping they will grow out of it. In most cases, they do indeed leave such things behind them as they become more and more involved in their present lives. This tends to happen around the age of 7, when they have school to deal with, and everything else they need to learn so they can function in their present lifetimes. But what about those golden years between the ages of 2 and 7, before they have become fully identified with their new self? When they still have access to memories of what went before, particularly if their previous life was challenging, involved memorable events or particular talents. There are many extremely well-documented cases of children who remember their past lives. A great deal of research was carried out in this field by eminent experts like Dr. Ian Stevenson at the University of Virginia and Dr. Jim Tucker, who succeeded him. People who devoted their entire professional lifetimes to researching and documenting hundreds of cases. Their research and that of many others working in this field have demonstrated beyond any reasonable doubt that many children are indeed capable of remembering various aspects of their previous life or even several different lives. Needless to say, there will always be detractors. People who refuse to take such possibilities on board, who consider all this to be a load of hokum to fool the gullible. Another major category of people who close their minds to all the evidence are those so deeply embedded in our materialistic world, with its money-driven goals, its merciless rat race, its all-important online presence, tweets, apps, and relentless acceleration, that there is no room for anything that cannot be immediately quantified. If you think for just a moment, is that really what life is all about? Putting our faith in the constantly updated moment of now, rather than timeless wisdom built up over the billions of years since the Big Bang, or whatever really was at the origins of everything. Isn't that rather arrogant? And by definition, as a whole, isn't all materialism desperately arrogant? The materialists won't agree. The dogmatic religionists won't agree either, because they are following their only way, God's word, which varies widely according to the particular God they follow. Children aged between 2 and 7 don't have this kind of problem. During the golden years, many of them can still remember where they came from and who they have been. The only problem is that whenever memories like those we described at the beginning do come through, the parents and families concerned invariably think their children are being weird or scary. And if such stories get into the media, they'll probably generate headlines like 6-year-old girl tells chilling story of being a Chinese nurse in her past life. And yet what this little girl is saying isn't chilling at all. No more than remembering where she went on her last family holiday. In fact, information of this type could be of vital importance to what she should be doing in the life she's now living. We must stress, however, that whatever may or may not be discovered about a child's previous lives, it is this life that really matters. However, we must always bear in mind that no child or adult can really fulfill their destiny without seeing their present life in the broader perspective of accepting that we are the sum of all we have been and all we shall become. So, if we do accept that the intense, methodical scientific study of people like Ian Stevenson and Jim Tucker does prove that some young children really do remember some aspects of their previous lives, we could help parents know how to react if their children do start talking about some of the things we have mentioned. Being in another body, at another time, in another place, showing unusual artistic or musical talents at a very early age. Would you be able to handle it? Would you know how to help your children handle it? What about children who show none of all that? Never say anything weird. Never manifest any kind of phobias, night terrors, or prodigious gifts. What about their past lives? Perhaps we shouldn't want to know. Perhaps we're afraid of opening some kind of Pandora's box if we start going into what might be seen as forbidden territory. The vast majority of past life regression therapists will agree that applying their techniques to children of this tender age might have negative results, with unpleasant or even traumatic memories surfacing that children and parents could have problems dealing with. But now there is a safe way of accessing golden years awareness. In fact, it's very straightforward. Just a question of setting your child's present life and past lives in a context they will feel comfortable with. Creating a climate of confidence in which they can at last feel free to talk about all the things that are still buzzing around inside their minds. How can that be done? Actually, with the help of penguins in Antarctica. Watch the second video in our series and find out more.